let's talk now HR with Hrmab. And we want to look at the whole question of creating better workplaces for all. And to help us be able to do so are Christal-Ann Downs, who is the marketing manager with at Heart Consulting Incorporated. Along with her is the operations lead in Tynisa Scantlebury. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good
Thank you so
morning,
much.
Pearson. How are you?
I'm well, thank you for asking. How do you do?
I'm doing pretty well, thanks.
Fantastic. Tell us a little bit about your organization. It's called Heart Consulting. What's that about?
So it's actually
HR Heart.
Heart.
Right.
And so we operate under Julie Turney. She is the founder and the person behind HR at Heart. And Julie has been in the industry of HR for over 10 years. And so she is a coach for HR professionals, basically. So it, just as the name states, is, having that feeling in your heart to, of course, cater to others in a positive way and help them to improve their way of work as well as them as individuals so that they can then apply themselves and have good performance in their workplaces or their environment.
A lot of what you market on this whole thing is you are there to provide empathy, expertise, and innovative solutions, which is right up our street. We want to talk about that today. And when it comes to creating a better workplace for all. Our previous interview talked about how in the workplace bullying can be arrested. And so from where you sit, help us to understand what it would take. And I'll start with you, Tynisa. What would it take to create that better workplace for all?
Thank you, Pearson. Well, the reality is that HR is really about the human element. And it's important to nurture that human element to give them the tools that they need to be able to function. Unfortunately, we understand that not everybody comes naturally equipped with the tools that's required. HR Heart is very passionate about helping people be in the workplaces in the positive ways that they need to be to show up for themselves, for their colleagues, to have that heart for their environment. It's not just about coming to work every day and just getting through your 8-hour shift, but it's also about being able to be present in that space and to give of yourself in the way that you really should and to look out for those in your care, those that are around you, those that you work closely with. It is important to start that from early. So as Dr. Joy spoke about, getting people to that place from early on is also going to help making the workplace an easier environment for people to be able to function.
That sounds so tiresome to be able to do, because at the same time you're managing your own expectations and experiences, and here it is, you have a body of staff who are looking to you for support and guidance and someone to talk to offload on. And so creating that home, that better workplace doesn't just end with you. It requires support from even up the chain beyond you. So how do we get the owners, the CEOs, the general managers and so on to be able to help you as HR practitioners do so to achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve?
Well, it's so important to recognize where your capacity is. I think that sometimes we want to give, but we need to understand where our limitations are as well. And if we are having the open, honest conversations about ourselves, everybody will know who's in a position to give what. And if it starts from the top, where they lead with heart, that starts to now push its way down to the bottom of the organization. It starts to set the tone and the culture around your organization's owners to be better, to provide a better environment. And yes, it's difficult, which is where HR Heart comes in, because we help people figure out the balance in being in that space. Julie is very passionate about that. She's worked with so many organizations to get them to that place, which is why, Disrupt HR was also a part of what we're doing to get that conversation going.
And so, Christal-Ann, sorry, it sounds to me as though HR practitioners need to see their job more so than filling out papers and doing interviews and creating reports. You have to have eyes to see what's happening and a heart to feel what's happening at the same time. So, talk to an HR practitioner today who would say to you, I have a lot of work at my desk to do here. I got things and reports to submit because the CEO is asking me that by 10 o'clock this morning, the report must be on the desk. But they also have a responsibility to the staff to help build that environment that fosters productivity and the like.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why, as Tanisa said, Julie's very passionate about helping those HR practitioners who are down on the ground in all of these organizations and across the globe. She has a wealth of experience. And so she goes in and digs deep into the issue or the root of the problem that they may be facing. Sometimes it has to do with organizational structure. And in these days, we have a lot going on around us. COVID has happened, a lot of issues are at hand. And so she is there to really hold their hand and help them through the process, come up with various ways of improvement. And so if they, as we said before, feel it in their heart and that they can take on, I guess, the world, so to speak, they can then, of course, help their employees under their lead.
There times are situations where the service of HR, the office of HR, is outsourced. It's not happening in my building, or I might just be a subsidiary of a larger operation where mine is just a branch thereof. How do we ensure that quality is consistent in every one of those offices?
Well, to be quite honest, Pearson, with regards to ensuring that quality is there, it goes back to the structures that Julie has put into place. And so, with her experience, she's able to, of course, go to see in terms of different correlations across industries and stuff like that. She's able to help those practitioners then come up with different solutions.
Tynisa, not everyone is the same. And we all come from different places and experiences and cultures, and that's just it. So it's a melting pot of all of that in one space called the workplace. And so, who are you to tell me that I must abide by your own norms and your own experiences? And so you get that kind of a pushback sometimes from an employee whose lived experience is so vastly different from the one that you want them to model. How do you, and how does the process at HR Heart Consulting, I'm getting it right now, how does that process respond to that individual who says, that's not the way I grew up?
Yes, and that's a very, very interesting conversation. And the reality is that you have to understand that going in. You need to understand going in that you're dealing with so many different personalities. And you have to be willing to hear these people when they tell you, this has been my experience. While you may not have walked in their shoes, you should be in a position to empathize with them. And this is where the learnings come from. In how do you approach these situations? Every situation is going to be unique. This is why you also need to involve your employees in the conversation about what is going to work. What can we all bring to the organization? Because it's a melting pot, you're going to require input from everybody to find a balance that's going to work for everybody. It's not going to be easy and it's not going to be like that every single day of the week. But if everybody is committing to do the work, to put in what they need to have the difficult conversations, even though they are difficult, to root out the issues and find the best solutions, that's when you're going to make the progress. And this is why it's so important what we do at HR at Heart and with the Disrupt HR franchise to bring that messaging out and to get people to start to shift their mindsets and their thought processes and want to do the work to build better working environments, to build better relationships at work, and to start that from the top and bring that down to every person in the organization.
I want to look at the cost of not doing that, because that's the opportunity cost that we also have to take into consideration. So talk to me a little bit more about when we don't approach this from that perspective, because simply we are thinking that it's too expensive to undertake. What's the loss?
The loss is that you end up now with an environment that is not healthy. So that's your opportunity cost. Do you want to then leave your organization to flounder, to suffer, your employees to be going through these challenges? It's going to affect your productivity. Once your productivity gets affected, it starts to affect your bottom line. And let's be honest, we're in business to be profitable. Profitability runs the business. It runs the ability to create employment. So all of it is tied together. It's one big ecosystem. So that's why it's so important to nurture every part of the ecosystem. And if you don't nurture your human resource base, how is your organization going to function? You are going to start to run into difficulties. So that's why you need to have the conversations and you need to get this going to ensure that you find that balance.
And you're nodding, Christal-Ann, because at Heart, HR at Heart Consulting Inc., let's talk a little bit about the process now, because I'm sensing that there's a business or an HR practitioner who's saying, I need your help. I really need your help because what you're talking about sounds sensible, but it sounds as if it's something I need. What's the process of working with you and having you work it through with us? Christal-Ann?
Oh, Pearson, I couldn't hear at one
Oh, I
moment. So,
apologize.
yes, it was muted a bit for me. So sorry, I'm gonna have to ask you to repeat that. I
Okay.
thought you were still speaking to Tynisa. Sorry.
That's okay. I wanted to hear from you. What's the process of engaging with you guys at HR at Heart Consulting Inc. to get your assistance? Because something tells me there's a business right now who's saying, I like what these ladies are talking about. I want a better workplace for all of my employees and myself. I want to see the bottom line, the benefits to the bottom line as well. How do we consult with you so that you help us achieve all of those things?
Okay, so you can, of course, find us on Instagram, HR at Heart, and it would be HR and then a Heart. There's also HR at heart.com. You can find us there and you can fill out our forms and so on to let us know what you would like to chat about. And then, of course, Julie and ourselves on the team would lead you in the right direction depending on what solutions you may need to encourage you to make sure that you make a better workplace for yourself. And we don't only cater to organizations, we also cater to entrepreneurs because we know as entrepreneurs sometimes you have a lot on your plate, and so you might need that coaching and that assistance to ensure that you are in the good position to work, and then you would be able to then have a good environment for persons when you become a small business, because as entrepreneurs we are micro businesses, and as one person with all of that weight on our shoulders, as I mentioned, we sometimes need to get it out and speak to somebody that would kind of be a therapist, but also somebody that understands entrepreneurship as well. So you can find us there or on our website. The website would, of course, link you out to all of our emails. Julie is also very much on LinkedIn, and you can find her as Julie Turney on LinkedIn, and then she links out to HR at Heart as well. And you can, of course, find a wealth of information there. You can find persons that she would have helped, and so she's very well versed across various industries as well. And we actually have an event coming up called Disrupt HR that we will, of course, be able to have you to kind of get an understanding more of what HR at Heart helps you to do as well.
This is so vital and so critical, folks. We want to encourage all of you in the practice of human resource management or business in general, whether it's small, medium-sized, or large, to really think carefully about how you can create that better work environment for all, and to reach out to HR at Heart Consulting. They will consult with you. They will help you work out those strategies to see how you can use your space, what you already have, and what you may need to be able to achieve just what the goals are. Remember, it impacts the bottom line. And because it impacts the bottom line, it needs to be taken quite seriously. And so we want to encourage you to do so today. Ladies, thank you very much for joining us. Christal-Ann Downs, Marketing Manager, and Tynisa Scantlebury, the Operations Lead at HR at Heart Consulting Inc. I got it right at the end of it all, for joining us this morning. And I wish you only much success in this to see the change that we're all looking for. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us. And we do want
Thank
to
you
thank
so much, Pearson.
Hrmab as well.
Indeed.
Yes.
Thank you too.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.